Welcome to this daily horoscope. My name is Athen, and this is for October 15th through the 17th, Wednesday through Friday. Okay, so we've got the moon now shifting into Cancer, and this has to do with our soul, has to do with our spiritual roots, our spiritual foundation, and connecting to this, over these next few days. And when we do this, when we go within, we see how we're feeling, we reflect on our feelings, and we ask ourselves, we ask our emotional body essentially what's there, how it feels, and opening up that channel to it. Then there's that flow. And there is a strong flow because this part of the chart is actually forming nice aspects with both of the eclipses happening this month. So we're really in the middle of, this eclipse season, and this is a very supportive time now for these next few days, and it's supportive with relationships, it's supportive with the energy that we put into our creative projects or anything creative and expressing ourselves, etc. But it all comes from within. It all comes from having a good, solid emotional foundation. And Jupiter is there, and Jupiter is expansive, and there's optimism, and there's abundance inside. So when we really tap into that inner abundance, then that's what reflects back in the external reality. This is a manifestation house, and it has to do with whenever you are aligned consciously and aligned emotionally, then the heart opens up. And this is the time to really reflect and ask ourselves, ask our emotional body how things are going inside, and using that as a sort of guidepost. Now, in terms of the mental side of things, actually there's a lot of activity going on this week in terms of that. Mercury is going retrograde, and he's flying through the tipping point of this kite, which means he's going over the sun, he's going over Venus, and he's going over that north node. And he's retrograde, so there's a lot of mental activity, especially when he's conjoining the sun around Thursday. So if you find that the mental energy is a little bit high, a little bit jittery perhaps, I really recommend things like lavender, some teas, or anything else that really soothes the mind during this time. And with this aspect with Pisces, actually, it's a good time to meditate and have a sense of presence and flow in the everyday life, and I think that will help calm things if it gets to be a little bit too high, because usually with Mercury retrograde and all this activity, it can sometimes be the case. But it just depends on each of us individually. But in either case, if we can bring down that Mercury to a manageable level, then this is actually a great week to get a lot done that requires mental aptitude, especially things that have to do with reworking, like redrafting, reworking a website, rewriting an article, a book, or anything in work, and relationship related too, because on Friday when Mercury goes over Venus, the communications in the relationships are going to be high. There's going to be open channels. So really, also with the work, because it is productive, there's also strong emphasis on relationships. So let your significant others know how much you mean to them. Tell them you love them. Open up, open that heart to them, and express yourself, and say a lot of things that, we don't normally say on the day-to-day level, because, it makes that bond stronger and brings that connection. And in this case, it's an open connection through communication. So strong emphasis on that. And Mars is still sextiling up to the sun, so lots of productive, creative energy. And Venus is actually going over the north node. So I wouldn't be surprised if this week a lot of us actually meet some new people or start some new relationships, or our relationships in general, our existing ones, just start to be more in alignment with and start to shift a little bit to gear towards the direction of our new path and in our new direction. But overall, it's still very productive. It's the third quarter phase, so lots of energy in the air. And I think as long as we have that presence and flow with the whole process of Pisces, then things are just naturally going to unfold and serendipitously happen. And there's just a lot of easy aspects. And I think the only real thing is to just bring that mental chatter, if there is any, or mental energy down a little bit to be manageable and use it in a productive way. But other than that, everything looks very flowing and very harmonious. All right, guys, so I'm going to draw a card and see where Spirit would like a little more emphasis. Well, there he is, Mercury. All right, so let's talk about what Mercury is. Mercury is the messenger, and since he is conjoining up to the sun this week on Thursday, this is the time when he brings messages, and his messages are very intuitive, but he's closest to us right now. Whenever Mercury goes retrograde over the sun, he's closest to Earth, so it's the closest he ever is, and so he's essentially giving us the gifts that he's received from the underworld, you might say, over the past couple of weeks when he was furthest from us. He was maybe behind the sun, gathering that information. So he's the messenger. He goes up to Olympus. He goes down to the underworld, and he brings the messages to us. And so really listen to that intuition. Listen to what the channeling information, because it's all intuitive, what that intuitive information is telling you now over these next few days, because the information is there, and strong intuition and guidance and gifts. And I feel like these gifts and everything are very strongly associated with our new direction, with our new path. So if we quiet down the analytical mind and we let things be a little bit more present and flowing, we can listen to the higher mind, and then through that, that's where the information that we can really utilize on this new path that we're all shifting on this month with the eclipses happening and the new solar eclipse happening coming up here in Libra. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoy. Have a great time, and I'll see you next time. Take care.